following show is a paid program.
Family, what's up? I am so excited about this week. We have Women Who Win Series 2020. As you just saw, today we will have the ReShonda Tate Billingsley. Tomorrow we will have Trisha Jones. We will have Christine Turner, Sparkle Lockett, then Christine Turner. Then to pull us off on Friday, Chandra Corelli. Oh my God. But on today, we have one of the best authors, 51 books, ReShonda Tate Billingsley. Hey lady, how you doing?
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, 51 books.
Yes, sir. And a couple of more in the can.
I love it. I love it. We will do a shout out to Alpha Kappa Alpha, to your AK sisters.
Absolutely. My heart since spring '89.
And also to your counterpart, Victoria Christopher Murray, Brown Girls Books Publisher. Both of you all together.
Yes. We have created a lot of magic both separately and together.
I love that about you. Let's start off. Everybody wants to know your start. How did we get here?
Well, I'm one of those that have always had an active imagination. My mother called it lying, but for me, it was just this imagination that was through the roof.
Right.
And it was a teacher that actually got me to channel that energy and got me to write it down and tell my stories. And so I just always loved have loved making up stories.
I love that. You actually were, and that was interesting to know, National Enquirer. You were a reporter.
Yes, I actually got my first start writing. I wrote when I was 15 years old, I wrote an article for a magazine called True Confessions.
Wow.
And it was a story called I Stole My Sister's Husband. And I never expected to hear from them. And then I got a check and an agreement for publishing. They loved it and they wanted to publish it. Now, it was supposed to be true. I had made it up. And I left out the fact that I was 15, my sister was 12. Talked about how I stole her husband, and they loved it. I never cashed that check because I was too scared to tell my mom where it came from.
Right.
But I just loved writing. And when I went to college at the University of Texas at Austin, and when I graduated, I went to a job fair at the National Association of Black Journalists Conference, and the Enquirer was there. And my friend joked about it and said, "You should go interview with them because you read them."
Right.
And I interviewed, never expecting to get a job. They offered to fly me down to Orlando to come and do an interview. So I decided it's a free trip to Orlando, still not planning to go work. And then they offered me a job. And I was a journalist. I graduated with a degree in broadcast journalism. And I kept saying, I'm a real journalist. I'm not coming to work for the National Enquirer. Thinking to myself, that's beneath me. I'm not coming to work. They said, well, starting salary is $130,000. So I said, well, when do you want me to start? And I began working for them, but I absolutely hated it. With everything inside me, I hated it.
Wow. In reading that, I kept thinking, is that real? Is the stuff real in the National Enquirer while we're reading it?
Yes, it is. And they're guilty by association because they don't do an alien, got Michelle Obama pregnant. They don't do those type of
Right,
stories. They do celebrity gossip. And
right.
that's what I did not like, is I just felt like I was put on this earth for a calling greater than digging up dirt and gossip on celebrities.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. I love the fact you're an anchor and television reporter at all of the big ones, right?
Yeah, so I've worked for NBC, for Fox. Worked for in Beaumont, Port Arthur.
Yes.
Worked in Oklahoma City and here in Houston.
Wow, for some of the greats. And then you decide in 2007, how do you leave?
I wrote my first book in 2000, and so it was my side hustle, if you will. It was my passion. I loved doing it, but I was one of those people that this was my gift and my dream,
Yeah,
but I was bound. I didn't have the faith to step out and pursue my passion permanently. And
right,
I would pray for direction on, give me some signs, God, on what I should do. And he would give them to me and I wouldn't listen,
right.
because I kept going, but God, direct deposit, I can't walk away from this job. And so finally in 2007, it's like he opened up the curtains and said, look, step out on faith. I got you. And he did. Now, having said that, I had a plan. I
Yeah.
planned and then I worked that plan to execute that plan before I left my job full time to write.
I'm glad you mentioned that, and I want to stop right there because 40 million plus people are unemployed, okay?
Yes.
During this COVID situation, many people, if they're not unemployed, they're at home, many of them are working. They don't want to be at that job, but they want to do their dream. How does that work? How did you get there?
Find what it is that you would do for free. Because if you go in at 9 and you're looking forward till 5, that's all you can think about, then that might not be your passion. So
Right.
your passion is what you would do if money were not an object. And so I would say during this off time, find a way to make your passion a reality. And then you still have your regular job. If you're unemployed, of course, use this time. Now I don't fool myself. Reliant Energy doesn't care about your dreams.
Right.
So you have to have your real job. You have to have a way to pay the bills, but at the same
Right.
time, make time to execute your passion.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that because Reliant doesn't care.
Right.
He doesn't. But I love the fact in reading, you also wrote the fact that your first book that you had, you could not get picked up.
Right. I wrote my very first book, loved it. I thought it was a great book. And I sent out letters to agents all over the country trying to get a book deal. And
Yeah,
I got rejected. I mean, like on a daily basis, I would come home to a rejection letter in my mailbox. And
right.
so it was continuous. But what I did is didn't want to let anyone else validate my talent. And there was a conference that I was at in Dallas, and I won an award for my manuscript. And this agent came up afterwards and he said, your book sounds really good. Congrats on the award. I'd love to take a look at it. And when I asked him, he said, he gave me his name. And I said, but you just sent me a rejection letter. And he laughed and said, oh, I don't read half those things. I get so many, I just stamp reject. And so I thought, I'm sitting here waiting on somebody to validate my talent.
Yes.
Let me figure out how to make this happen myself. And that's what I did.
Wow, that is so good. Now, also, you had children too. You also had children. You
Yes.
were a mom.
Yes, I am the mother of three. At the time when I started this journey, I was pregnant with my first child.
Right.
That was 20 years ago. And I would find a way to make it all happen. See, the problem is life is always going to get in the way.
Yes.
So you will always have an excuse not to follow your dreams. You will always have a reason why you can't pursue your passion. So your resistance to pursuing your passion, your resistance to following your dream, you have to get to the point where that desire becomes greater than the resistance.
Absolutely, and I love that. I love the fact, and like you said, and during this time, you had little babies, you had little children, they were growing, they're going to school, and all of the process, you're still writing because you can't write 51 books during this time and put the children on the side, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And what I did is I would utilize every spare moment.
Right.
So there are times where I bought my daughter the little play laptops at the time where
Yes.
she would bang on them, and I would sit her next to me and I would say, okay, we're going to write a book. and she would sit there and type, and then she'd get bored and watch TV. But I would make it interactive, and
Right.
I just found a way to utilize. There are times I dictate a lot in terms of trying to get my books done. So when I'm in the car driving from point A to point B and the kids are asleep, I will dictate. And
Yes.
that's a way to get all of the things done, because I believe every minute you spend talking about what you don't have time to do could be spent doing it.
Absolutely. I love that fact. I love the fact, and not many people know the fact that two of your books are actual physical movies.
Correct. Let the Church Say Amen is a movie, and then The Secret She Kept.
How did we come to that? How does that come about in your mind saying, this book can be a movie? Does that even come,
well,
or does somebody bring
well,
that
but
up?
most authors think that about all their books. Look, this book should be a movie. It's just a matter of getting somebody to make it into one. But for me, I got my movie deal by being nice. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but I was at a book signing. A young lady had on a McDonald's uniform, and she said, I'd love to buy a copy, but you see where I work, I don't get paid till next week. So I bought her a copy of the book, signed it, talked to her, gave her my undivided attention. And she was so moved. She gave the book to her sister, who worked for an airport bookstore in Phoenix. Well, one day Juanita Bynum was coming through that airport bookstore and asked for a recommendation. And the girl said, well, you should read this book by ReShonda Tate Billingsley, because she was so nice to my sister. And she
Wow.
convinced Juanita Bynum to buy the book. Juanita bought it, read it on the plane, loved it, emailed me, and the rest is history. She took the book to Hollywood.
Wow. When she emailed you from Juanita Bynum, what did you think?
Oh, I thought it was spam. I didn't
Exactly.
even reply. I just was like, yeah, right. Juanita Bynum is emailing me.
Right.
But what happened, she ended up getting in contact with my editor and set up a meeting. And I was just dumbfounded. And she said, I just want your permission to take the book to Hollywood. And I said, my permission? Do you want me to drive? I can get
Exactly.
down to Atlanta in no time and take you. And she took it, and I signed a deal with Cold Black Entertainment for 7 of my books to be made into film. And then over the years, the whole way that works is options fall off. And along the way, Regina King came on board and picked up Let the Church Say Amen and ran with it.
Wow. My God. Going back to starting over, so many people don't know about how to get the book even to a publisher. They don't know how to get the book, understand contracting, just the business side of it. And that's what I love about you. You also educate people about the business.
Yes, because one of the things that happens so often is we're so secretive. We're
Yes.
secretive about how much money we're getting, and I don't want to
Yes.
tell them how I got it. But as I was telling you before, a rising tide lifts all boats, and
Yes.
so I am free with information, because you can help me, I can help you.
Yes.
If we go in there with knowledge, and then it allows us to exceed more. One of the reasons that Victoria Christopher Murray and I actually got close, we were on a literary cruise, and she said to me, well, have you talked to your publisher about your credit card? Because I was paying for everything out of pocket. And I looked at her and said, credit card?
Right.
What credit card? I don't have a credit card. And it was very unfair to me, because they had me doing all of this stuff, but I would have to foot the bill and get my money back. And so I went to my publisher and asked for a credit card, and without hesitation, they gave me one. But had Victoria never said that, never shared that
Right.
information, there are things I would have never known.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought her up. Victoria Christopher Murray, you all have a collaboration together. And let's talk about how you guys met. That's what I love. I love that story.
Yeah, so we were at a book signing. I've always been a fan of her writing. She came out just a little bit before I did, but she's considered the queen of Christian fiction. And I knew that we had a lot of the same audience. Now, I don't write Christian fiction. I'm a Christian that writes fiction. But I knew that we had a lot of the same audience. And so,
Yeah.
again, I'm an outside the box thinker.
Yes.
And I know that if you want to learn how to be a good surgeon, you learn from the best surgeon in the business.
Right.
And so I knew Victoria was on top of the game. And so I studied her. I didn't know her personally at the time, but one of the things I did, we laugh about it now. She calls me a stalker. I set a Google alert up on her. And Google alerts are basically notices that let you know when somebody appears on Google. So I would get a Google alert saying Victoria Christopher Murray is speaking at this major event in Los Angeles.
Right.
Well, then I would contact that event because next year they need another speaker, right? They don't want Victoria back 2 years in a row. And so I was able to book a lot of events that way. People had never heard of me, but they were like, okay, we've checked you out. We like you. We'd love to have you come next year. And so I was able to kind of follow in her footsteps.
Right.
And so she says, now, I didn't know you were stalking me the whole time. I said, you call it what you want. But I was thinking outside the box and how to build my career.
Wow. I love that story because not many of us are thinking like that. They never study. And I love the fact you go to other book signings. You go to other people's book signings. You go buy other people's books.
Absolutely. And I don't go to other people's book signing to go pass out my card.
Right.
A lot of people do that.
Right.
But I go, of course, if a reader approaches me, I'll talk to them. But it's about supporting others.
Right.
It is.
That's what I love about you. You support.
Giving other people the opportunity to shine. I have no problem with stepping back and letting you get your shine on. Because again, when one of us succeeds, all of us do.
They do. And I love the fact you go and you actually support and purchase the books.
Yes. I am a firm believer because I will have people that say, oh, let me just give you this book. And I'm like, no, you're a business.
Yes.
Let me buy this book.
Yes.
Right.
And you've helped so many people even know about the business side and setting up their business by that way, by from the things that you've learned along the way.
Right, because I am a creative person, so I never saw myself as a business. I'm a creative person, and it was actually Keith DeMars that would hammer it into my head to say, you are a business. Stop saying you're not a business.
Yes.
And so I had to shift my thinking because in the beginning, I would, go to a book signing, I would sell some books and then go buy some shoes with the money. And that's not how you run your business.
Yeah.
And you have to look at yourself as a business. I am free with information. I love sharing. But at the same time, I had to take a step back because what I found is I would be spending 6-7 hours a day letting people pick my brain.
Right.
And so my work was suffering. And so you really do have to step back and say, okay, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm not trying to be mean, but I have to look at myself as a business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because this is your livelihood and for your family, especially now, when you're when you're stepping out, this is your career. This is the career that you have to feeding family with too,
Correct.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you said it's now a business. This is the business side of it. Yes, the creative, a lot of people are creative, but the business side, and that's where they lose out because of the representation, the contracts they're not reading as closely as they probably, because they just don't understand them. They're just taking on what someone has told them.
Right. And one of the things with contracts, one of the things we tend to do is we tend to say, okay, I'm not spending money on an attorney, or I'm not going to give an agent 15% of my money. But one of the things you have to realize is they're professionals for a reason. There are little things like even negotiating my movie contract. My agent was negotiating the font size of my name. And I was like, okay, don't do that. You're going to blow the deal. Why would we do that? But all of that plays a bigger role in getting future projects. But little things like that, I don't know. Also with my literary contract, I was just happy to have a book deal. So the first offer they gave me, I was like, yes, we'll take it. And my agent said, no, we're going to go back and ask for some more. And of course, me again, I'm like, you're going to blow the deal. Don't do that. But that's her job. And she did. And she went back and she got some more, which ended up basically covering her fee.
Right. Absolutely. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to take a break right now and we'll be right back. We'll talk to ReShonda Billingsley in a few.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. For a limited time, get $16,000 off all in-stock Cadillac 2019 XT5 crossovers and $19,000 off all in-stock 2019 CT6 sedans. Or experience the first ever 2020 Cadillac XT6 Premium Luxury Collection. Only $519 with $1 down for 39 months lease. Or purchase and receive 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. Drive the new 2020 Cadillac XT4, only $399 a month, or the new 2020 XT5, only $429 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase the XT4 or XT5 and enjoy 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Our story begins more than 60 years ago inside an abandoned chicken coop where our founder discovered a retired teacher living. No home, no health care. So she said no to this injustice and yes to transforming lives. It's this drive, this compassion that inspired AARP. Today we empower people to choose how they live as they age. We advocate for health and financial security. We strengthen communities everywhere. We are AARP, creating real possibilities.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, family, thank you so much for coming back. We are talking to ReShonda Tate Billingsley. Hey, lady, how you doing?
Hey there, I'm well.
Oh, wow. I'm so excited. We were just talking about the fact about contracts, and we were talking about just the business side of the business of just books and your book deal and things like that. Let's elaborate just a little bit in publishing. What do people need to look for and things like that when they're trying to take their book and try to get it published?
You know, one of the things you don't want to do is one of those, what we call them vanity press. No
Yes.
one should be charging you $15,000, $20,000 to publish your book.
Mm-hmm.
It is a lot easier now to publish your book than it used to be because
Yes.
you used to have to go to a printer and get your books printed up front, come up with a lot of money up front. But now Amazon's KDP program has made it very easy. You can get anywhere from 1 to 100 or to 1,000 books printed just by going through their program. Now, I always tell people just because you want to write a book doesn't mean you should write a book if you're not going to take it serious.
Yes.
Just because you got a B in English in the 8th grade does not mean that you can edit a book.
Right.
You should have your book professionally edited.
Yes.
I can't stress that enough. And
Yes.
if you can't afford to have your book professionally edited, you can't afford to publish just yet. And there is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But readers are going to give you one chance to get it
Yes.
right.
Yes.
And I've seen people that will publish a book and that'll just say, oh, I mean, I know I had a lot of errors, but readers will excuse it. And they may tell you they'll excuse it, but they're not coming back because there's
Right.
too many people that care about the craft for them to continue to invest in someone that doesn't.
I love that. I love the fact that you all have a publishing company, Brown Girls Books. How did that come about?
So Victoria and I were among the last 2 Black authors standing at Simon & Schuster. They'd gotten rid of most of their authors after the closing of Borders bookstore. And one of the reasons, it had nothing to do with talent, because there are some authors that are so much more talented than us that we just absolutely love their work, who were no longer with book deals. And it's just because of the changing industry. So
Yeah.
what we decided to do was create a publishing company for some of those fan favorites and new authors to give them an opportunity to have their voices heard.
Yes, and let's reiterate, I've had a lot of guys say, Brown Girl Books, what about us? And let's acknowledge what the name is and why.
So Brown Girls Books, Brown Girls is because we are 2 brown girls, Victoria and I. It is as simple as that. We have male authors, we have female authors, we have kid authors, we
Yes.
have white authors.
Yes.
So we take everybody. We have quite a few male writers, but it is just because the 2 brown girls that founded the company.
And you also walk people, you all have, I've noticed that you all go through training, you all talk to people about, different contracts, different business sides, what the book should look like, things like that. You really take on a lot when you're doing the publishing and helping them.
Right. So with Brown Girls, one of the things we do is we look at it as we're partners in the publishing
Right.
business. And that is because we, as authors ourselves, we know what it's like to want to make sure that your voice is true, that
Yes.
you tell the best story. So we consider ourselves partners with those that we publish, and
Yes.
that's one of the things we feel strongly about. And it's about teaching them along the way, just sharing the wealth of knowledge that we have. Now, Victoria and I also do Writers Pro workshops. It's a digital like master class that you can just watch videos at your own pace just to get to the point where you can finish your book.
Yes, that's what I love about you, especially with you signing up with your publishing company. You all really take your time with each one,
Yes.
with each person. You have several, but each author, you take your time, even when they're teens. You know, they're
Yes.
teenagers. There are a lot of teen writers that I loved.
Right. So we have our youngest writer is actually 8 years old. She's
Wow.
out of New York, and she wrote a book on bullying, and she wrote it in both English and Spanish. So we have our Brown Girls Kids division. My daughter actually wrote her first book at age 12 that was published through the Brown Girls Kids division. So we love, because both of us wanted to write since we were little. So
Right.
we give them the opportunity. We give young people the opportunity, and we try to help them thrive in this whole industry. And the industry is really, it's a tight industry right now. It is difficult because people aren't reading as much. You know, they're
Right.
on their phones,
On
they're
their
on
phones.
Facebook. So it's an uphill battle, but we're committed to going all the way.
Absolutely. And then, but I love the fact that you know how to take a book to a movie, which many
Yes.
don't.
Right, and that's one of the things. So we are so excited about the next phase. We have a division called Brown Girls Entertainment, and that is
Yes.
to take the books that we have published and then take them to film, both for the small screen, for digital, just a whole an array of opportunities for those to be made into movies. And one of the things we're doing is because we both know Victoria has a couple of movies coming through Lifetime. She has written for UMC, some UMC shows. And so what we're doing is we're taking the things we've learned to not only help our authors come along, but we're also working on our own movie that we're producing, that we're hoping to produce here in Houston.
Right. I love that fact. I'm glad you brought up Houston. We were talking about the fact of Houston being a viable source for entertainment, movie entertainment. And we were talking about why it could be, and why we have just some things that we need to work on.
Yeah, Houston has the space, we have the time, the talent. The problem is we don't have the tax incentives, and it's
Yes.
hard to compete with the places that do.
Right.
Both Regina and I fought to get Let the Church Say Amen filmed in Houston because the book is based in Houston.
Yes.
But just like with The Secret She Kept, they filmed both of them in Atlanta because the tax incentives are so much greater there. So what we're really trying to do is find other ways that Texas can make up for that lack of tax incentives to entice producers to bring their projects here.
You have really worked tirelessly in trying to do that. I know in the last, as I've known you since 2007 plus, you have been on working hard trying to get movies to come here. You have been one of the pivotal points that I've seen, even in front of, city council. You have gone statewide. United
Yes.
States wide, trying to get it here. And I know that's why I bring it up and trying to let people know you have really championed to try to bring things here in entertainment.
We have so much talent here. I hate to see that in order to succeed in
Yes.
this business, we have to leave the state of Texas. We have to go
Yes.
to LA. We have to go to Atlanta. I hate to see that when there is so much talent here.
Right.
And not just in front of the camera. We have some great crew members
Yes.
here. We have the hair, makeup. We have the craft service. We have
Yes.
all of that here. We just don't have the opportunity. And so I am really working to give us that opportunity.
You have been. You have worked tirelessly, like I said, over and over trying to do that. We have the climate here. We don't have the change in the weather like many do.
Right. And one of the things that's great, we also have a mayor that is committed to it. He really does want
Right.
to see that happen. Now he's a little preoccupied right now,
Right. Right.
with COVID.
Yes.
But this is something that he's passionate about.
He has been very passionate about that, and I'm glad you mentioned that. The other thing I think for us, our cost of living is very
Yes.
low here. Many people have said that, and we have a lot of the talent, as you've mentioned, they travel from here. I have so many tell me that.
Right. And one of the things that's so great about Houston is we're so centrally located. And so as artists are trying to decide what projects they take,
Yes.
one of the things we immediately do is how soon can I get there and get back home to my family?
Right.
And so because of our central location, that is something that we could play up because they could take a direct flight back to LA
They
or
sure
back to New
can.
York in a heartbeat.
Yes.
And it's not a matter of having to change planes. It's an easy place to get to, and that's very enticing for those crews that are coming in and coming out trying to film projects.
Right. We also, and you also spoke about this, our hotels, we have plenty of space to stay, to
We
live
do.
here.
We have
Yeah.
plenty of nice places to stay.
Yes.
And again, it's all centrally located where you can go to places and film your entire movie in a section, and the hotel's right down the street. So
Right.
there are so many areas that we could focus on. It's just people hear tax incentives. We have to come up with a sound plan to go beyond that and tell these producers and studio execs, okay, we might not have the tax incentives, but here's all the other things we have.
Right. And then try to put a budget or something together and try to
Yes.
try to help them in that way, some other way to do it. I know, like I said, I've seen you tirelessly trying to do this over and over again because you really have put Texas on the map and really wanted Houston of sorts to be there. Some places in Austin are doing a few movies I saw, but not
Yes.
as many as we could.
Yes, absolutely.
So what I'd like to do, what I was thinking too, what else do you think as far as us, what do you think as a people we could do? What could we help with? What could we do?
Well, one of the things is people go where the demand is.
Yes.
And so when the first movie finally gets here filming, we've got to support it. We've got to get behind it because unfortunately, Hollywood is reactive, not proactive.
Yeah.
So the first time you have a movie that's filmed here, they were able to meet a budget, come in under budget. The movie is successful. The movie is shot well. Next thing you know, everyone is trying to get it off, get into Houston. So we've got to get that first project done, and then
Yes.
we absolutely positively have to support it.
I love that. I love the fact that you said that. What other things, suggestions, or what would you give to somebody right now if they are really trying to get their project off the ground in this time of COVID?
Yeah, stop talking about doing it and do it.
There you go.
And if you don't know Spike or the major people, you can't get in through the front door. Find another way in.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had her movie made into it was Napoli Ever After. Halle Berry did her movie initially, and then Sanaa Lathan ended up doing it on Netflix. Well, she got it because she gave the book to Halle Berry's hairdresser. So find
Wow.
another way in to get your work out there, and don't discount the driver. Don't discount the people that we will often tend. Now you'll see people that'll look down on the secretary. My mother was an executive secretary all her life. You'll find people that'll look down on them because they're like, oh, I want the person in charge. But the secretary is the one
in charge.
calling the shots, right? And so just look at other ways in to make your dreams a reality, even down to the point of doing it yourself.
Yeah.
But when you do things yourself, you have to do quality. If you are shooting your own movie and you have a hollow sound and we'll have a tendency to do substandard work and
Yes.
excuse it.
Yes.
And then that immediately puts us into the I'm not going to take them serious category.
Right.
But when you do a project that can compete with any of the mainstream projects out there, and there are ways to make that happen, then you can be taken serious and become a viable option for producers and those looking to do more of your work. Right now, content is key,
Yes.
especially in light of COVID. All of these places are looking for content. It's now is the best time to strategize. Maybe you know a crew over here that has the crew, and maybe you know a writer over here. Now's the time to get together and make something happen because everybody wants content.
I love that. And I also love the fact you always stress invest in yourself, invest in your project, invest Put the investment back in there. Quality, put it back in there. I love that.
Yeah, so I had this woman is a perfect example that sent a book for us to publish. Well, there were so many errors on the first page, and I did more than what many people do. I took the time out to have a conversation with her, and then
Right.
she said, "Oh well, I figured you knew that I didn't have any money." And so what happens is normally you're not going to get past. They're going to throw that in the trash.
Right.
You're not going to get past anyone else. And this goes for anything that you're doing. Because if you do not care enough to put your best foot forward,
Yes.
I understand there may be one or two errors because that's human nature. But to be riddled with errors and then excuse it, that tells me you don't care about the craft of
Right.
whatever it is you're doing. So why should I invest in you if you
Right.
won't invest in yourself?
Right, right. I love that because you do push that investing in yourself and also investing in your children when they have creative minds. You invest in your children by doing that. When you said your daughter wanted to write, okay,
Yes.
she wants to write.
So I do. I am a firm believer in doing what makes you happy.
Yes.
There are some people. My oldest daughter went to college and she majored in international government. That was her first. She did that because she was trying to find something that would pay some money and be safe, but she was miserable because her true passion was fashion.
Yeah.
And so she's transferring to Howard University. She got into their exclusive fashion design program. And I have family members that are like, that's crazy. Why is she doing? But I'm a believer in why am I going to invest money in a college education for a career that she will hate all her life?
Right.
But she'll be making some money. I want my daughter to be happy. And she could succeed at fashion. We won't know until she tries.
Right.
So there are so many people that shoot down. Parents are so well-meaning. Mine too. I love my mother to death. But she was the main one saying, do not quit your good
Right.
job.
Your good
at the
job.
choir. And do not quit that good job at Channel 13. You're going to write books full time. But then when the literary career took off, she was the main one talking about, okay, when you going to buy your mama a car? But at the time, she wasn't feeling my dream. And she's well-meaning.
Yes.
But so often, well-meaning people kill dreams.
They do. They do. The first thing I think a lot of people, when they say someone is an author, how do we get paid? That's the first thing. Family, friends, spouses,
Yeah, so you are paid.
relationships. How do you get paid?
Yeah, so you get paid if you are with a major publisher.
Right.
Some of them give advances. Now
Right.
the industry has shifted so
Yeah.
that if they do give advance, it's such a small advance.
Yes.
But you get paid on percentage of books sold.
There you go.
With a major publisher, and it's generally industry standard is 10%.
Yes.
So think about it. If you're selling a book for $15, you're getting $1.50 per book.
Yes.
Well, if you only sell, the average author sells 10,000 books a year. So that's not a whole lot. That's why you keep writing. That's why
Yes.
you keep trying to sell. And that's why you find other opportunities. You try to go to audiobooks and ebooks, and you find other ways to diversify your portfolio.
Right, right. And I like the way you say that. And also, like you were saying, the ebooks, audiobooks. You spoke about Amazon. You spoke about other ways you can get things done in such a
Yes.
with quality.
Absolutely. And quality is key because
Yes.
you can put that book out just because you want to be an author.
Yes.
You can put out a substandard book, but that'll be it because
Yes.
readers will not come back and give you another chance.
They won't. They won't. How do you think that how do people decide if it's fiction or nonfiction? What should they continue to write in? Is it something, a passion, like you said?
Yeah, so nonfiction is true. So even if you want to tell the story of your life, but you want to embellish a little bit because you want to make it more dramatic, well, then it's no longer nonfiction.
Right.
Nonfiction is all true stuff. So if you want to just write that, that's one thing. But if you want to embellish, you just want to make up and be creative, that is something completely different. So you have to decide where your passion lies. If you have a story to tell, and that you can just stick straight to the facts, then you can write in nonfiction. But I always tell people, get out the story that's in your heart.
Yes.
And then you can decide where it's placed later.
Yes, yes, yes. When we return, we'll be right back. We'll talk to ReShonda Tate Billingsley.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. Drive the new 2020 Cadillac XT4, only $399 a month, or the new 2020 XT5, only $429 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase the XT4 or XT5 and enjoy 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Our story begins more than 60 years ago inside an abandoned chicken coop where our founder discovered a retired teacher living. No home, no health care. So she said no to this injustice and yes to transforming lives. It's this drive, this compassion that inspired AARP. Today we empower people to choose how they live as they age. We advocate for health and financial security. We strengthen communities everywhere. We are AARP, creating real possibilities.
Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, Ron Carter Cadillac, delivers test drives to your home or office. For a limited time, get $16,000 off all in-stock Cadillac 2019 XT5 crossovers and $19,000 off all in-stock 2019 CT6 sedans. Or experience the first ever 2020 Cadillac XT6 Premium Luxury Collection, only $519 with $1 down for 39 months lease. Or purchase and receive 0.9% APR for 72 months with no payments until November. RonCarterCadillac.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, we are back. We are with the ReShonda Tate Billingsley. Hey, lady, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Hey, we were talking about a lot with the publishing, but we didn't talk about you doing other things. You're an editor.
I am. It might be easier to talk about what I don't do sometimes. I work for the Defender newspaper. I'm managing editor for the Defender. I've been with the Defender for, since 1993.
Wow.
I started there right out of college. But that's one of the things that I learned is align yourself with people that believe in your dreams, because I started there, but she knew my passion was TV. The publisher, Sonny Messiah Giles.
Yes.
And so she pushed me to follow that dream as well. And I said, the Defender will always be here. And so that's what I've done over the years. I've gone and pursued my passion, and I continued to keep my foot in journalism by working with the Defender. I also work at Texas Southern University. I'm a communications consultant in the Office of University Advancement, and I do the news for KTSU Radio. So yes, I stay busy because I'm also a ghostwriter and a literary editorial consultant.
What is a ghostwriter? Let's explain that.
A ghostwriter, some people decide they want to write a book about whatever, about their life. They may even just want to write a novel, but they have neither the time, desire, nor discipline to sit down and write. So they hire me and I write the book and they put their name on it. So that's what a ghostwriter is.
Wow. Now you just opened up right there.
It is. I stay quite busy with ghostwriting.
Look, a whole line of people are now saying, "Oh, I don't have to do it, but I have a book."
Yes. They just hire somebody. And our job, it was so funny because I wrote one time for my mother who didn't. I wrote one, and my mother, who doesn't understand ghostwriting, went with me to his book signing. And he stood there and he talked about all the hard work he had done and getting this book. And she just kept going, "But you wrote it." And I said, "No, be quiet. This is how this works.
Right.
He is supposed to take credit for it. It is his book." A lot of times we interview the writer or the person that wants to do the book. And all I'm doing is taking their ideas and bringing them to fruition.
Wow, that is a whole nother world.
Yes.
Everybody is now saying, "I can do that. I can."
Right. I can tell her what I want her to write, and she make it sound good and come back in a book. Yeah.
Right, because so many people, they fear that part. They fear the part in sitting down, taking the time out, saying, "I've got to write it. I know what I want to say, but to write it is a different story."
Yeah. One of the things, the hardest part of what stifles so many people is they sit down and they try to write what they see they bought from me at the
Right.
book signing or what they see on the bookshelf. But you can't create that when you sit down to write.
Yes.
Good books aren't written, they're rewritten.
Wow, I love that. How, if you do have that in your, you say, I really have a book and I really enjoy it and I really need somebody to do it. How do you choose that ghostwriter? How do you choose that person? How does that process go?
I would definitely make sure that the person has done some work before,
Right.
or that it's someone that you know is a credible writer. Because
Right.
I've seen quite a few people that claim to be ghostwriters, and they're not. I probably 50% of my work is from someone who is bringing a project that they tried to go through another ghostwriter.
Right.
And it did not work. So they're bringing it to me to clean up and to actually get it done.
Right. And to actually take care of it. Wow.
Yes.
I love that part about it. And what else? Anything else? I didn't have the other list. Anything? Because I know you do a lot.
I do. And one of the things that I am trying to learn how to do is relax a little bit more because I am a workaholic. I work from sun up to sundown.
Yes, you do.
That was great earlier, but the 50-year-old me is saying, look, we need to take it slow a little bit. So I'm just going to slow down and maybe only do about 5 jobs instead of 8 or 9.
Would you say maybe only 5 jobs versus the 8 or 9? Only 5 or the, oh my God, I love that part. But you were also talking about the movie side of it, going towards the movies. We want to get back to that just a little bit, understanding once your movie is taken and they've optioned to make it a film, what happens after that?
Well, so generally speaking, what happens is you only have, you option your book. You are lucky if you even get invited to the premiere.
Right.
I think a lot of authors don't understand that. I
That's
was
the part.
blessed to have a relationship with Regina.
Mm-hmm.
With Regina King, and so I was able to be on set. I was able to be along for the ride.
Right.
The majority of time when they buy your book, they just option it, and you don't have any more say so.
Right.
And so you have to be ready for that. You also have to be ready for changes. A lot of authors think they're going to go in and dictate, oh no, you can't do this, and then what the movie producers will quickly say, they'll go somewhere else and get somebody else. So you
Right.
have to be open to them changing your book, because at the end of the day, your movie is only supposed to be the essence of the book.
Right.
And as long as they continue to capture that essence, you're okay.
Right. I'm glad you spoke about that because many times they change the whole entire book when people say, they've changed my whole book. That's not what the book says. That's not what it has. That's not what's in there. It wasn't supposed to be that, that type of thing. I'm glad you said that so people can be prepared.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people don't realize, so your book is 300 pages. The movie
Right.
script is 100.
Right.
And so they have to still tell the story, and things that you can do in a book, you can't do on the movie screen.
Right.
So, for example, with Let the Church Say Amen, she had one of my main characters had 2 kids in the book by 2 different men. Well, they only did 1 in the movie because otherwise you got to spend time explaining where the
Right.
other kid came from, that relationship. So there are so many things that factor into the movie that you can't put in the book. There were also things that they felt like an audience would buy into more
Right.
in the film. So that's why I gave them the leeway to make the changes, because I knew they do what they do and I do what I do.
Absolutely. And it's so good to even have them choose your book for an option because there's so many out there.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm not ashamed at all to tell this. So you initially said 3 books were done. And that's because I had 3 books. I had Let the Church Say Amen, The Secret She Kept, and then they were supposed to do The Devil Is a Lie. And they made me an offer on The Devil Is a Lie. And I was one of those, no, I'm not taking that offer. It's less than what I feel like you should pay me. And so they said, oh, okay. All right, have a nice life. And they went on to the next person.
Yes.
And I'm still waiting for The Devil's a Lie to be done. And so you really have to take into account, a lot of times it's so competitive out there now that unless you have a huge J.K. Rowling type following,
Right.
They really don't have to meet your demands. You can request them, but if you want to stand your grounds, you got to be willing to walk away and know that it may be a minute before somebody comes along and tries to take it as it is. Or you could say, okay, you know what? I'm not getting as much as I want for this, but let me let you take this, give it to you for this.
Right.
And then we'll go, and it's going to be such a success that next time you're going to have to pay me.
Right.
So a lot of times you have to look at, I'm going to give a little so that I can get a lot later.
Yeah, because most of us did not even, nobody knew COVID. Okay?
Right.
And it's movies that were supposed to be, that I know best, featured, where the movie theaters are now closed. And many of them are going out of business. So those movies, even though the actors and actresses have been paid, the movie hasn't gotten it back.
Yeah. And so, you never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
Anything can happen. There have been instances where people have deals and a new president comes in to the network and decides, nope, I know you signed a contract. I don't want to do this film.
Right.
Just pay the person out and be done with it.
Wow. And you got to be prepared for that, and also representation.
Yes.
That's
that
what
representation fights the battles.
Yes, representation, because many times you think, oh, I don't want to pay that person that price. I'll do it myself.
Yeah. That's awful. That is not, you do not want to, unless you are a lawyer yourself, and even then you want someone else working on your behalf. You do. You definitely want someone to work. And like you said, they went to school for that. They know what they're doing. Right. That's what they do. Right, correct. Absolutely. As far as if somebody wants to get in touch with Brown Girls Books. So browngirlsbooks.com is our website. You can find, we have about 40 authors in all different genres. You can find out more about them at that website, browngirlsbooks.com. And then for me, my website is my very long name, ReShondaTateBillingsley.com. And it has my contact information there. And then I'm very active on social media as well. Sounds good. What would you like to leave with the viewers? What things would you like to leave with them? So someone once asked me, what would you want on your tombstone? And I say, I would really want it to just say she lived. And so I ask everybody, are you doing what you were put on this earth to do? And if you're not, then figure out a way to do it. Don't leave this earth without doing what it is you were called to do. Whether that's opening a new business, whether that's just finding your peace at traveling the country. You can't travel right now, but just find what it is that brings you joy so that at the end of the day, you can say, I lived. I can rest well because I lived. Especially now during COVID, what would you like to say to people about that with the dream and COVID? Because we talked about this, you were saying now. Yeah, so one of the things, while I encourage everyone to try and pursue their passion and find what it is they want to do not be ashamed and do not let anyone belittle you if all you want to do during COVID is rest. Yes. Because I am a firm believer that sometimes that's what you need. You may want to just rest, center yourself. You are released from the hustle and bustle of your daily life. Yes. And just be with yourself and not do anything. There is nothing wrong with that. And don't let anyone take it away from you if that is what you want to do. Yes, I love that. I love what you said. I also love the way you always unapologetically do everything with quality. I love that part about you. It's always first class. Always. Thank you very much. I've had a great time. Oh my God. I so appreciate you. I love your platform, and I love you for allowing me to share just a little bit about me with your viewers. Thank you. They said, look, you were renowned. Look, everybody kept saying, where is ReShonda Tate Billingsley, Cam? You haven't put her on yet. Well, I appreciate you and those who advocated for me. I appreciate you so much. I pray that we will, out of this COVID, it will go past. But prayers to each and every family that is out there. Both of us, I know, feel that about these families, man, that are going through COVID. And the ones that are sick, we're praying for them too. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the interview. It's been great. All right. Have a good evening.
You too. I appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, family. On tomorrow, we will have Trisha Jones, but this whole week, we will have Women Who Win Series 2020. Thanks. Have a great one. Bye.